Hello, New York. Yay. Cool. Thank you all for coming. Okay, so today's presentation, I'm going to tell you why lying is a good thing. Okay, stay with me. Right, who is Sam and why is she here? If my career in cybersecurity was a person, it could now legally drink in the UK. I think that's a good thing. And I've certainly seen, as I'm sure some of you guys have, some of the changes over time. I started life at a company called Network Associates. Anyone remember them? You might remember them now more as McAfee or Intel Security. So I spent a lot of time there from the days of when antivirus was cool. And that's what people had for security. Remember those days? And obviously the world's moved on quite a lot. But I've spent time in various parts of the business, support, labs, research and management, incident response. I'm actually only 25 years old. This is what incident response does to you. It's been a tough life. And now I work at Rapid7 as a solutions manager, looking after everything in the world that isn't America. So a fair amount. I've been there since July. I'm a nephophile. That's neph for file, which means I really like the cloud. So it's good to see there's some nice security cloud provision going on here at the moment. Always nice to talk about the cloud and the benefits of it. And I've spent a lot of time over the years working with customers in various states of disarray when they've had virus outbreaks, cyber attacks, all that good stuff that takes far too long to solve and can be very painful, and it, again, attributes to the grey hair and the wrinkles. So Rapid7. Rapid7's main reason for being, I guess, is to help people get the answers that they need. Since the days of big data, we've been swamped. We weren't doing great before big data, to be honest. We were getting too much information then. Now we've got loads of it. So putting answers at the hands of the smart people who need it really gives them the ability then to be able to understand what's happening in their environments, to be able to react to it quickly, so that you're not finding things out days, months, years after the event. These are the different areas that we can help you with. There's quite a varied portfolio there. If you're interested in learning more, do come and talk to us on our stand. We're just where you come out the door from the main auditorium. So, anyone here work in incident response or worked in incident response? Wow, loads of you. Fantastic. Yay. Security team challenges. None of these will be a massive surprise, I think. In short, we're tired and we've got too much work to do. We've got too many false positives happening. We've got data that's lying to us, sending us off on goose chases, taking up time. We just want to have a rest. So seriously, between alert fatigue, portal fatigue, some of the challenges you see up here behind you, and then just the challenge of trying to work out what the hell happened. It's not simple. So, this is kind of the status quo for today. When we look at things like breaches. The numbers here come from our friends over at Mandiant. Last year, it was around 200 days was the average to find out you've been breached. It's come down. 146 days now, isn't that better? So, we're finding out too late. We're pretty good at finding out that there's been malware in the environment. Antivirus has been around a long time now, right? It does an okay job. What it doesn't do, though, is tell us that we've been breached. And all too often, we find out from a third party. We find out from a government agency. We find out because our stuff's all over Pastebin. One of our employees goes to, have I been pwned? And we find out from that. These things take too long. And in between actually realizing that something's gone wrong, and maybe we've had that little malware detection at the beginning, days and days and days go past. Information leaves our environments. Things can be changed. Depends on the attacker as to really what their modus operandi is. Could be malicious. Could be they're just after the data. We all know the value of data these days, right? So being able to spot things quickly and easily, this you could say is nirvana. We find the threat quickly, we deal with it, we stop the damage early. We don't have to report the breach to a supervisory authority, for those of you lovely GDPR people in the room. Okay? This is really what you want. The best breach that you have is the one that doesn't happen. So the attack chain. There's variations on a theme of this. I've seen a few different ones this morning. I've actually got 2 variations in this presentation. But for the most part, attackers get in. They could use a phish. They could use some malware. Could be some good old social engineering. They poke around. They see what we've got in our environments. What's interesting? What user accounts are there? How can I use things to my advantage to be able to really make this attack worthwhile? They find their mission target. More often than not, that is data. You do get the malicious attacks. Certainly, we've seen a lot in the Middle East of late, where actually they're hell-bent on doing damage as opposed to stealing data. But either way, they get to whatever they think is important, and they make sure on the way out that they've got a way of getting back in, more simply. So, lies. Lies, lies, lies. The world is full of lies at the moment. Fake news is everywhere. What do we believe? I couldn't leave Trump out, sorry. Not a political statement, obviously. We're getting swamped by lies. And lies generally aren't a great thing. So if I can get a show of hands in the audience, who here has never told a lie? We've got some honest people in the room, this is good. Who's told a lie today? Maybe not. Okay. So it's a thing that humans do, right? We do tell lies. We tell lies sometimes because we want to hide the truth. We tell lies because sometimes we want to make ourselves sound better than we are. Apparently, it's a sign of intelligence. So it happens, right? And our parents or our guardians would tell us always that lying is bad. I tell my children, don't lie to me because I'll know. And my eldest daughter still doesn't realize how I know. She thinks I have special powers. She's talking to a master. Lying is sometimes a good thing. Have any of you guys in the room here got any deception technologies currently within your environments? Good. So, deception technology is a good way to lie. Deception technology is essentially things that you can put inside your network that look innocent, that look like they're supposed to be there. But if an attacker goes near them, boom. They look interesting. They'll set off alarm bells. These are the sorts of lies that are good. Let me tell you a little bit about Insight IDR. So this is the only product screenshot you'll see during this presentation, purposely. Insight IDR is Rapid7 SIM that is purpose-built for incident detection and response. It's one of the big reasons I moved to Rapid7 in the first place. It's an amazing piece of kit. One of the things inside it are the deception technologies. So we'll go into what these are right now. This is an important one. Crying wolf. I think that translates okay, right? Good, there's nodding in the room. SIMs, more often than not, can be noisy. And as we said earlier, we're tired and we've got too much work to do, right? When this thing goes off, when it shouts wolf, you want to make sure that your sheep are actually in danger. Because eventually, if it's the other way, you'll stop listening to it. Deception technology is an amazing way to make sure that the alerts you're getting are high quality and you know you need to jump. So let's talk about what they are. Honeys. Everyone likes honey, right? Good. So there are 4 different deception technologies within Insight IDR. Honey pots, honey users, honey credentials, and honey files, which is a whole lot of honey. Honey pots, I imagine most people have heard of in different guises. Within Insight IDR, this is what they do. So you can set up machines that look like just a normal machine, happily sitting there on the network. You could call them something interesting. Something that an attacker might want to go and have a look at, right? Accounts, HR, design data, super awesome, confidential, please don't look at this unless you're supposed to. You know, something along those lines. You could just give it a normal server name as well. And you can have one of these, you can have a ton of them, totally up to you. And they're very easy to deploy. They wait for reconnaissance behavior, so things like port scans, Nmap, an attacker getting the lie of the land to see what assets you have in your environment. If something touches one of these honeypots, alert straight back into Insight IDR. You know that someone's starting to poke around. You want to get on top of this quickly. So next on our list, we have honey users. This gentleman here is certainly a user of honey, and in fact, it looks like he wants some more now. So, honey users. Another common piece of attacker behavior is to go after accounts. You want to be able to move laterally within the network. You want to masquerade your behavior as a user so that you don't get detected. They could go down the route of doing something like a brute force attack. It's pretty noisy, but it happens. It's certainly used by attackers. They may look at poor password hygiene. Recent report again on terrible passwords, 12345, still being used. Seems very common now to use the season name, the year, exclamation mark. So where this sits, technology-wise, is you can create some accounts within Active Directory, accounts that look interesting. Patch admin, for instance. Admin's always a good name to have in them, but you can call them whatever you want. If somebody tries to log in using these accounts, because they're fake accounts, because they're lies, yet again, you get a lovely alert going straight back into Insight IDR. So it's picking up that attacker behavior where they're trying to use lies against your organization, you can use lies against them. Next on our list, we have honey credentials. You may think credentials, users, similar, right? Slightly different. On your laptops that you've probably all brought with you today, you will have hashed credentials, and in some cases, clear text credentials, but for the most part, hashed. For reasons such as you want to be able to log into the machine when it's not on the network, and those will sit there locally. They're hashed, right? What's the problem? So tools like Mimikatz, a method called pass the hash. Attackers can use this to grab those hash credentials, pass them through the network, they look just like you. So we hide our own hash credentials on the endpoint as well. The minute someone tries to use them, boom, off goes Insight IDR, you get a lovely alert coming through. So this whole lateral movement piece is pretty difficult for a lot of organizations to detect. It's something they're concerned about, but actually being able to do something about it is hard. This is a great way to protect from things like Mimikatz, where the user credentials from your actual users have been stolen by attackers using these types of tools. And finally, honey files. So for the most part, attackers are after data, like we said. They don't always stop to read through every document that they want to take a look at. It's much easier to grab a bunch of stuff, send it back home, eat it later on. Commonly, they'll use HTTP, HTTPS to transfer it. The firewall's not going to pick that up. It looks like normal traffic, right? So they've zipped it up, they've transferred it back, they're going to look at it later. They can literally take swathes and swathes of data that way. So honey files sit there, looking like innocent normal files. And again, you can call them something interesting. You could call them something cool like mypasswords.doc, confidential, super awesome financial data, whatever you like. Or you can just give it a boring name, that's fine too. But I think it's always good practice to make it look interesting. Anything happens to those files, anything at all, be that an open, a copy, an edit, because some of them will try and do something malicious to the file, a delete, any of those actions take place, alert goes straight back into Insight IDR. So if we look at the attack chain a different way, I said I had two different diagrams of this, you can see where these fit. You can think of them as being multiple tripwires. So that ideally, you want to stop people coming in at all. That's the best part. But if they do start to come in and they start to behave in the way that attackers do, you've got these lines of defense that are actively looking for that attacker behavior. And ideally, the quicker you pick them up, the easier it is to stop them from doing something. To be able to respond quickly is the incident response person's best friend. So, in summary, I have some facts for you now. One of these is true. So, antivirus protects against all known and future threats. There's some head shaking, this is good. Duck quacks don't echo. Microsoft will always call you to tell you that your PC has been infected by malware. They always do that. Anyone had the call? I think it's become a sport now to try and keep them on the phone longer, record it and put it on YouTube. The Great Wall of China can be seen from the moon with the naked eye. Every organization is ready for GDPR, all of them. There's no more work for us to do. And if you look under your seat, there's a €50 note tape there. Yeah, someone went for it. We're actually giving out €50 notes later on the Rapid7 stand as well. We're definitely doing that. And finally, deception is indeed sometimes good. Thank you very much, everyone. Any questions?
Thank you, Samantha. Are there any questions for her? Looking way in the back. Nobody?
Nobody else wants to check under the seat.
Okay. We've agreed that she won't lie in the answer. So you can just ask a question, she won't lie. She will give you an honest answer. No? Okay. Well, I've learned a lot. I've learned that it's actually good to lie sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So next time, if my wife asks me, does these pants make me look fat? I know what to answer. You know?
Good luck.
Thanks to you. Samantha, everybody.
Cool. Thank you all.